Hello everybody. I thought we'd go over a couple of the interior stuff. Now, as a reminder, this is a 2022 Kia Niro plug-in hybrid, and this is the base package. This is the cheapest one. So the more expensive one has some additional features. This one, for example, I mean the main things, this one doesn't have heated seats and it doesn't have a moonroof, but there's some other things, changes in the electronics and stuff. So let's go ahead and start it. So to start, you hold down the brake and you push the start button, and it comes up and it gives you this little. Now this is the, I'm looking at the. We'll look at the driving screen here in a minute, but I'm looking at the media screen. The engine started because the cabin is cool, so it runs the engine to get the battery going. So here on the controls, we've got this line of stuff here has to do with the media. So you've got the on-off volume button to turn. This turns the radio on. This brings up your media. It's telling me that I didn't bring my phone out here. It would connect to my phone via Bluetooth if I had my phone, but my phone's upstairs. This button here, you can set this to be your favorite screen, and I've got it set to come up to this display, which has the media. It shows like what radio station is playing, or whether it's connected to my phone and playing music or whatever from my phone. And then over here, it's got some. It's got the battery percentage and the mileage range. But you can change that to be different settings. And then there's a setup button, which brings up the main menu. So this is the main menu. Let's go back for a second. That's the setup menu. Let's go to all menus. Okay. So this is the phone, and so let's let you make phone calls and stuff if you have your phone in the car, which I don't right now. This is a UVO. That's a package that an extra add-on package that Kia sells. That you can control your car to some extent with your cell phone and stuff. You get like a 1 or 2 or 3 month free trial when you buy the car. I haven't activated it. I've read some things about it. It's kind of I don't know if it's worth an annual subscription to get that. This brings up the radio. This will bring up any media that's connected. So this would again come up to my phone. This is Android Auto, which I should go get my phone and show you Android Auto. I'll go do that in a little bit. It's got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and so you'll get some of your apps, not all of them, but a few of your phone apps will show up here when you're in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay mode. And then there's PHEV. Voice memo, I'll come back to PHEV in a second. Voice memo, climate control. Now there is 2 things there. I'll push the climate button, and this basically says what it's set for. And you can control this so that the passenger and the driver have separate temperatures that you can control, and they also have it so you can do it from here, but you can also do it the old-fashioned way in this particular car. So I can change the temperature for the passenger or the driver individually. You can set it so that it only heats on the driver's side. You can set it so that these are both equal all the time. You can change the speed of the fan with these buttons here. Turn the air conditioning on and off, turn the recirculation on, turn on the rear window defog and the front window defog. You can do all that. Let's go back here. Okay, then there's a setup menu where you can connect your devices. So we've got Bluetooth connections. We've got Kathy and iPhone is both connected. You can change which one has priority. It really only talks to one phone at a time, it seems like. There's a Wi-Fi button here, which I think is just for updates. The car doesn't have Wi-Fi. Our phones connect via Bluetooth. Okay, let's go back out of here for a second. Oh, and then let's go back in for a second. Go back. That was in setups, right? Sound. I want to click on sound for a second. So you can center the sound. It's got front and rear speakers. You can set the tuning, your basic treble, mid-range, base type controls. I've got them set to default. I've got the position set right in the middle of the car, which is the default. You can change volumes for different things, which is kind of nice, like the beep warnings and the ringtone for your phone and voice prompts that it might give you and alerts. You can change those and make some of them higher and some of them lower volume, which is kind of nice. What else? Speed dependent volume control. Strong, normal. This automatically adjusts the volume according to the vehicle speed. So if you're going faster, it makes things louder so you can hear them. Radio noise has some noise reduction. I've got it set to minimum right now. Balances original sound with some reduced background noise. So, anyway, so there's a bunch of features here. Not as many as there is on the advanced model, like I said, but on the base model, that's what they have. And then I want to talk a little bit. Let's move over here for a second. So, when you start the car up, there's a green light up here that comes on to tell you that the car is ready to drive. It's a green car with an arrow under it. And when you see that, you can drive the car. And even if the motor's running right now because it's warming up, but even if it's just electric only, it'll show that. And if you're driving down the highway in electric only, there's an EV sign that comes on right next to it. Over here, you've got shows you what you're currently doing, whether you're charging the battery, like if you're coasting or braking. It'll be in this arrow will come down in charge mode. If you're driving normally, it'll be in the eco range. If you're really accelerating fast, it'll be up here in the power range. Inside of here, there's both a fuel gauge and an electric gauge. If you want to look at it, that way, it gives you estimated mileage. So right now the car has driven 272 miles. It had about 60 miles on it when I first got it, so we've driven about 210. The reason it had 60 miles was my dealer had to go to a different dealer to pick the car up and drive it back to their dealership so that I could buy it. So right now it's saying I've got 24 miles of electric and 470 miles of gas, a hybrid, and then so it's 494. It's estimating right now total. I was going to talk about lane. So there's a lane keep assist thing here. There's an icon. Whoops, turn the blinker on. There's an icon right there which shows a little car with lane markings next to it. When that icon goes green, that's the cameras have found a lane markings, and it knows you're in the lane. And if you drift to the side, if you start to run over the lane marker, like if you start to go onto the shoulder, it beeps and it automatically steers you back. There's another feature, and I use that one. I leave that one on all the time. You can turn it off, but I leave it on all the time, and I don't mind it. It's actually kind of nice. But there's another feature here, which has like a little steering wheel, and what that one does, when you turn it on, there's another icon that appears, and it tries to keep. Turn it off. It tries to keep you in the center of the lane. And for driving around town, I kind of find that annoying, so I leave that one turned off. But if I ever go on a long trip down like on an interstate, I'd probably turn that one on too, and it tries to keep you like in the center of the lane. It does a really good job. If the icon turns white like this one, that means that it can't find a lane marker while I'm sitting in my driveway in front of the garage. So yeah, of course it can't find a lane marker, you know. And it'll start to, if it starts to blink green, if it's green, solid green, that means it can find it and you're in the lane. If it starts to flash green, that means you're drifting out of the lane. If you turn the blinker on, like you're going to make a turn or you're going to change lanes, then it'll also go white. It'll turn off because it, doesn't want to interfere with you trying to, make a turn or change lanes. So it knows that if you turn the blinker on, you want to turn. There is another in the side mirror here. There's a little, you can't really see it, but there's a little symbol there that means there's somebody in your blind spot. If there's a car back here on my left in my blind spot, that icon will light up. And if I try to turn, if there's a car in the blind spot and I turn the blinker on, not only will that icon light up, but it'll beep at me. to let me know that, you know, if it looks like, if it thinks that I want to change lanes into another car, it'll warn me, which is kind of nice. I like that. I also like the backup alarm. If you're trying to back out of a parking space and there's somebody driving behind you, or almost behind you, it'll beep and warn you. I'm going to put the car into reverse. It has a standard stick shift, and when I do that, you get the standard camera, which is kind of nice. It has I'll turn the wheel here to show you. It shows, you know, the area directly behind the car. It shows where the car would back if you went ahead and backed up. It's got a red line there to show, you know, don't go any farther because you'll be backing over the curb or whatever. And I do really like that. It's giving, you can hear the beeping. That beeping is a backup alarm. So as an electric car, it has a backup alarm to tell people you're backing up. Because electric cars, when they're in electric-only mode, are pretty quiet. This one also gives a little rumbly noise if you're driving like at around 20 miles an hour or so, and it'll make a little bit of a rumbly noise to let pedestrians again know you're coming. I'm going to put it into drive. I got my foot on the brake, so hopefully I won't go anywhere. And I'm going to then push this over, and now it's in sport mode. And you can, in sport mode, you can change the gears. It won't actually go into sport mode right now because I'm not moving, but that's how you put it in sport mode if you want. And it gives you a lot. I'm going to put it in park before I do something stupid like driving in my garage. Yeah, in sport mode it's a lot more sporty. It has a higher acceleration, and then it runs the engine pretty much all the time. The regular modes, there's a button right here, and if I push it once, it goes into auto mode. And auto mode is automatic mode. It tries to decide, it uses the battery when it thinks it gets the best bonus out of the battery. The other modes are HEV. HEV mode, there's a little light that says HEV mode there. HEV mode is basically the hybrid mode, and if you put it in HEV mode, then what it tries to do is it tries to maintain the battery percentage. I just actually pushed it. It tries to maintain the battery percentage at whatever percentage it was when you went into HEV mode. So if you know you're going to want to use your electric power later that day to go up a mountain or something, or to drive around town, you can put it in HEV mode, and as you drive, it'll try to maintain it'll run the engine as it needs to maintain the battery percentage. And then pure EV mode, it will use the battery to drive as much as it possibly can. It'll only kick the engine on maybe a little tiny bit if it needs it, but it'll almost always just run totally on the battery until the battery's gone, and then it'll switch into standard hybrid vehicle mode. Since I did push that, let's go into here for a second. So there's some cool things here. There's an energy flow meter. This will show you as you're driving. I mean, it's just a little diagram, but it shows what's going on right now, whether the engine or the battery is running the electric motor, and the electric motor is driving the wheels. And if the engine was charging the battery, it would have, you know, whether the motor or the engine are charging the battery. It all shows up right there on an energy flow diagram, which is kind of fun to watch. Eco driving, this fuel economy history. Let's hit that. So we drove to Bainbridge and back yesterday, and around town and stuff. We did 33 miles, and I did stop at a stage 2 charger station and top off a little bit. So I was able to drive almost all on electric, and we got 429 miles per gallon. So we drove almost all electric. Yeah, here's one. The next one, here's 10 miles, 798 miles per gallon. 16 miles, 165. 7 miles, 220. So these are trips that were almost entirely electric. Obviously, if you go into a longer trip, then can I go down farther here? See if there's one that's lower. Yeah, here's one that's 80. That was 10 miles. If you go into some that are, here's one that was 49 miles. This was probably the dealer bringing it to the dealership, and it got 52 miles per gallon on a 49-mile trip. It's supposed to get around 40, I think, on pure HEV mode. The previous dealer had it. They went 6 miles and 1 mile, and they had 21 and 34. But that's probably because they did a lot of idling and driving around the dealership to, short distance move the car. They probably didn't have the battery charged up. I don't know. So you can get that. That's interesting. Over here, let's see. Driver assistance, door, lights, convenience, service interval, other. No, I don't want that. Let me see. How do I get to? Maybe it's here. I haven't quite got all the menus memorized yet. Okay, yeah. So here, I don't know if you can read that or not, but it says my driving style so far over those 270 miles, of which 210 were me, has been 74% economical, 25% normal, and 1% aggressive. So I don't drive very aggressively. Energy flow, that's another diagram, the energy flow diagram. Engine temperature, shows what the engine temperature is, if you're curious. Fuel economy, it says the average is 209. And it says hold the OK to reset. And I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a trip. That might be a trip. Accumulated info. Okay, trip was 275 miles, right? 97.7 miles per gallon. So that says that overall we've got 97. Drive info. That's the current drive info. It says I've gone 0 miles because I'm still sitting in my driveway. I haven't left yet. I usually leave it. I mean, you can change these. I usually leave this set to show the speed. That way, I mean, it has a regular traditional gauge there, but I don't know. I just like having the number there too. But you can leave them set. You can leave these things set to anything. There's some charge management stuff you can change, like when your car charges. I just go ahead and plug it in here. We don't have our electric is the same. We get charged the same no matter what time of day it is, so it doesn't matter. So as soon as I come home, I plug the car in, and then whenever it fills up, I turn it off. So that's it. I'll probably do another one sometime and talk a little bit about using the phone and connecting the phone. But that's a quick look at the controls, the digital interface, the two screens here, and how it works in the standard base model. So I'll talk to you next time.